Coralie, the Cotton Candy Angel, written and illustrated by Julie Hanson. Heaven's newest arrival was not shy. She was, however, late. 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 1 second to be exact. What's worse, Coralie was covered in mud. The gatekeeper shook his head in disbelief. "It'll wash off," Coralie said with a crooked smile. Suddenly, the mud disappeared, and Coralie was dressed in a beautiful white gown. Life on Angel Avenue was not much different from home. There were rules and there were chores. Coralie didn't like either. But she was eager to earn her wings, so she signed up for angel duty. First, she tried out for the choir, but hiccuped during every high note. Next, she tried playing the harp, but her hands got stuck in the harp strings. Robe making was her last-ditch effort to find her calling. But when Coralie left the sewing room, it was a tangled mess of silver and gold thread. The only duty left was to sweep the streets of heaven. The rules were simple. Sweep slow, no fuss, gather every bit of dust. Coralie swept every day, but still had no wings to show for it. Then one day, Angel Avenue was all abuzz about working harder to gain glory points. Without hesitation, Coralie grabbed her snow-white plume, jumped high on her tiptoes, and twirled up and down the streets of the holy city. A flurry of twinkle dust filled the air, then suddenly it all disappeared. Without warning, a loud and thunderous boom shook the heavens. Before Coralie knew it, she was standing in dust particles close to 1.5 inches deep. Her eyes widened, her legs wobbled, her halo slipped. Coralie hurried to scoop up the dust, filling her pockets until they overflowed. Then she grabbed armloads and dumped it all at the edge of heaven. The pile grew, creating an enormous heap. Suddenly, a tickle filled her nose. She wiggled it left, right, up and down. Achoo! The twinkling dust rose into the air, then fell down far beneath the clouds. What remained was a path brighter than the brightest star. At the end of the path was the yellow house Coralie once called home. Coralie was happy to see her best friend Emma sitting on the old swing. But Emma wasn't alone. She was talking to a stranger. "I'll give you $5 whole to help me find my puppy," the stranger said. Emma knew not to talk to strangers, but she did it anyway. Then she walked away with him to search for the puppy. Coralie grew nervous. Her eyes welled up with tears. Before she panicked, she folded her trembling hands and prayed. "Dear Jesus," she whispered, "my friend Emma, she's disappeared. A bad man took her away. Please find her fast. I'm really scared. Please let her be okay." Suddenly, a blinding light appeared. As the light faded, Diesel Dove, the sky traveler, appeared. A well-known peacemaker, Diesel carried the knowledge of the world on his head. "How do you do?" Diesel cooed as he tipped his worn-out top hat. "My friend is in trouble," Coralie cried. Diesel looked inside the flap of his hat and searched every inch. He looked once, then twice, 3 times. Finally, he found the card that read, "How to send a message from heaven." Just as Coralie reached for the card, the wind blew it far away. "Hey!" she demanded. "Give that back!" The strong wind would not let it go, and Coralie hung her head in despair. Then she gazed at her beautiful rose and smiled. Coralie had an idea. "I need colors, Mr. Diesel, lots of colors." "At your service," Diesel nodded. Then he tipped his hat, spread his wings, and dashed off to the woodpecker willow news. In no time, volunteers needed was nailed to every log, tree, and pole. Next, Diesel zoomed through the galaxy of stars, filling his hat to the brim with twinkle dust. Meanwhile, a crowd of volunteers gathered around Coralie. Bluebirds, robins, cardinals, and their cousins listened closely to her plan. "My friend Emma needs our help," cried Coralie. Just then, Diesel flew overhead and tipped his hat. A wondrous glow spilled out over the volunteers. Happy chatter filled the air. Cardinal Redcrest led devotion. As the cardinal preached, Robin Rightway mapped out Earth's course. Next, Miss Bonnie Bluebird, in her fancy yellow bonnet, shared the secret of color making. Soft-spoken Miss Bonnie gave today's lesson loud and clear. "To make the color purple, you'll need red and blue," she chirped. "And for orange, you'll need red and yellow." Navigating Earth was easy with Robin's map. Gardens, trees, and bushes were filled with beautiful colors. After plucking the most colorful petals, the volunteers flicked their tail feathers. Bits of color fell, marking their flight home, and every rooftop sparkled from the glow of twinkle dust. Meanwhile, Coralie discovered the clouds that sat beneath her feet had hidden pockets. She had all but one pocket opened when she heard the sound of wings flapping behind her. She yanked at the last pocket with both hands, teetering back and forth. Whoosh! Coralie slid down the silver-colored lining and into the pocket. Petals in every color possible poured down on top of her. Suddenly, Coralie heard a rumble. The clouds burst wide open. Colors scattered throughout the sky, and Coralie tumbled down, down, down. At that moment, sweet music filled the air, and Coralie rose up and above the clouds. Then she disappeared. Baby Robin was the first to notice the shimmery pink color which consumed the sky. It was Coralie. Coralie had earned her wings. She opened her arms, and a ribbon of pink spread fluidly like water across the heavens. The angels joined hands, and the shimmery ribbon grew brighter and stretched further. Then it began to glow. Children said it looked like the sparkly sugar on top of cotton candy. Definitely good enough to eat. Then a chorus of angels echoed this message throughout the land. "Listen, children, hear us say, trusting strangers not okay. When at home, at school, at play, don't trust strangers any day." Emma heard the message and looked up. Somehow she knew it was Coralie. Awakened from the stranger's spell, Emma screamed for help and pulled away from his grip. Then she ran home, lickety-split. Still today, cotton candy rainbows are seen around the world, and the message remains the same. So, the next time you see a rainbow, look for Coralie. She's the only angel wearing pink. Thanks for joining me in today's story. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to read more stories with me. And if you enjoyed this story, be sure to click the link in the description to order your copy today. Happy reading!